thanks for joining. I'm Luke LaHaye, co-CEO, co-founder here at Nuity. Kind of lead all aspects of the company. Adam and I had a good meeting with Erica White and Daryl Thomas and Rachel too a few weeks ago. So we're excited to kind of share with what we're doing here at Nuity, and hopefully how it can help some of the small businesses that you guys come across. So Adam, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Luke. Hey, everybody. Adam Zabel here. I am the head of credit here at Nuity, so I work with small businesses who are seeking capital. Excited to chat with everybody today.
For those that just joined, there's a Q&A. You can drop any questions in. We're recording this so we can share it with you, and you can distribute to your team if you want to do that. But hopefully we just get some, really the idea here was we'll give you some background on who Nuity is, how we're trying to help businesses get access to capital through the SBA, and show you hopefully how simple it is. And then we would love to work with your clients that that come in to your offices and then help them get through. So we will try to keep it, we have it reserved for 30 minutes. We'll try to keep it a little shorter, and if there's any questions, we can answer those. So just a bit about us. We started the company 3.5 years ago during the pandemic, originally helping banks, process and then service PPP loans. We ended up helping over 120,000 businesses during that time, in the kind of year plus of doing that part of the program. Helped them access almost $12 billion worth of PPP loans. So it was really kind of successful start to the business. From there, we had partnered with one main bank. They had asked us to help them build a digital 7A platform and process. And so really for the last 2 years now, we've been just focused on that. How do we make it so a small business can come in very quickly, within 5 minutes is the goal, understand if they pre-qualify for an SBA loan or not. And if they do, have them simply give us documents, work with our team, and get through the process in what we like to target in less than 14 days, start to finish. As you guys know, it's been typically 2 to 3 months. So that's really been the goal from the start. And I would say every week and month, we continue to get better and better. And we think, where the platform's at now, the scale we're currently doing of over 100 loans a month, really starting to kind of get to that point where we can do, thousands of these SBA loans a month. And that is the goal, and really kind of what we're tracking towards. Our focus on the SBA product is very specific, just so you understand. It's up to $250,000 working capital loans. So really anything from, marketing, rent, payroll, inventory, anything they would just use for working capital. That's what we're trying to do. So we don't have any real estate specific offerings or business acquisition. We've tried to keep it specific to like the product most of our clients, which are kind of 2 to 30 employees, are looking for. And we found that that's the easiest product to offer them. So that's just a little bit about us. So I will kick it over to Adam to kind of just talk about the market that we're playing in.
Thanks, Luke. Yeah, so we put together this kind of high-level information on SBA loans in Illinois, and looking at how has the SBA program been beneficial for Illinois borrowers. How many businesses have taken advantage of the program. And so as you look here, kind of looking at PPP, and we do look at the Paycheck Protection Program as an interesting proxy. You can see during the pandemic, when those loans were available, there were 620,000 loans given to Illinois-based businesses for $37 billion. You contrast that with the flagship SBA 7A products, been around for 75 years. 960 loans for 455 million, call it, and that's through June of this year. Total for the year. So, we do see that there is a lot of opportunity for businesses who were aware of and took advantage of the PPP program, but perhaps haven't made the link to 7A or hadn't gone through the exercise of determining whether they qualify for a traditional 7A loan. So as Luke kind of mentioned, that's one place where we think there is a lot of value in the program to Illinois businesses specifically. Generally, folks who qualified for PPP have a good chance of qualifying for 7A. There might be a couple of business types that may not, maybe met PPP requirements but don't meet 7A. But in general, there's just a lot of availability here. The program has a lot of capacity to take on more Illinois businesses who are interested in getting an SBA loan. If you look at the column on the right is the work that we did. So between SBA and PPP, just about 3,800 loans to borrowers based in Illinois. One of the things also is that Luke mentioned we focus on loans that go up to $250,000. That's pretty atypical for banks and non-bank lenders that operate under SBA. A lot of times you'll see average loan sizes kind of closer to 500,000, a million, and even above that. So the SBA has really tried to kind of refocus on those smaller underserved business communities, and that's where that's right in our wheelhouse. We do have one of the smallest average loan sizes because we're working with those businesses that are maybe a little bit newer, a little bit smaller in terms of revenue. So a lot of opportunity here in Illinois.
Yeah, we'll touch on those specific qualifications. It's on one of the slides towards the end that you can reference back to. So that way, as you're talking to business owners and working with them, should have a good idea relatively quickly if you think they might qualify. So I think the next phase, we wanted to walk through kind of our approach to offering an SBA loan. Like we mentioned, it's a fully digital process to come in, quickly get pre-screened, provide documents, and then you work directly with our team. We view that technology only can help us kind of do half the process. The other half of it really is done by our doc specialists, our underwriters, and the team working directly with the borrower. So this is not a black box process where it's like the client submits and hopes something happens and doesn't hear from anyone. You're going to hear from us within hours really of submission, and help work through those docs and qualifications and get to the end. So we use technology to help our team, not to replace the whole team. So hopefully that part makes sense. So this is just a really brief snapshot, kind of how we think about the technology platform, but really it just enables ease of data transfer, helps them, go through, answer the right questions so we can see if they qualify quickly or not. Because if they don't, we'd like to let them know sooner than later. If they do, we'd like to get them into the process.
Yeah, and just kind of taking an even closer look at the customer portal itself. I won't spend a ton of time on this slide only because we're going to do a quick demonstration of the application itself in just a few minutes. So, but this is kind of what our platform would look like to a customer once they create an account and log in. So just a couple of things to call out. Very mobile friendly. Everything's been designed to be optimized on both mobile and on your desktop computer. So whichever is the preference. Always going to have the information available right at first glance. So on the left there, you can see that's kind of what the dashboard would look like once a loan was in place. So just kind of high level interest, term, basic information about the loan, and then on the right side here, that's what the screen looks like once an account is created. So quick access to all of the different options we have for small businesses that do come on in and work with us. So it's all been designed to be very easy to use throughout the process. And kind of alongside that, in addition to the loan product and being able to actually apply for a loan, we've built a robust customer education section of the Smart Portal. So some business insights. We're constantly updating content to try to deliver what we think is very insightful, impactful information to business owners. So even if somebody didn't come to us for a loan, they'd have access to all of the different content we put out there, just trying to help small business owners really navigate the environment that they find themselves in, the landscape. So this is all kind of real time. It's all fresh content that we try to keep there. We also have some webinars, so similar to this one, But we've done different webinars. We had one on financial literacy and credit of business owners, how to kind of think about your business credit like you might be used to thinking about your personal credit. So just some different webinars that are all available there on the site for folks to come in and learn and hopefully get some value out of.
And then just one aspect that we think would be that is helpful for our partners that are sending clients in. We have a partner portal where, let's say for the group here, you guys are sending in your clients. You want to know where are they? What's the status? Because you're not on their specific account. We have a partner portal where you could log in and say, okay, the SBDC has sent us, there's these 20 loans. You can see which one's yours, where it's at. You all could have your own login, assuming we use the same link. The Apex Accelerator could have their own. It just gives you a real-time view. So you might see like, my client is at, needs documents. Let me reach out to them and find out why, so you can use it as a tool to kind of help someone complete, because that is, documents, as you guys know, is where, people, I think, get stuck, right? And they need help. And that's why we have a whole doc specialist team. But because you guys are working directly with them, you could also use this to see real time where their status is, to give you that transparency.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over now. I'm going to pull up a brief demonstration. Okay, so first step of the process here is going to be, so somebody decides to register with us, which is the first step before they can go ahead and access the loan application process. So as we collect some basic registration information from the business owner, it's very simple: business address, the primary user who's going to be actually interacting with us, and then some basic information about the business. So just some ranges here, like number of employees, annual revenue, just a range band at this point, and then the industry. And for the industry, individual can just type what they do. If they're not sure of their exact NAICS code or something, they can just start typing, I'm in, for example, golf course construction here, and they'll see that populated. So quick summary of the information provided, and then that's it. That's the only registration steps needed before you can come on in and apply for a loan. So we looked at a screen similar to this a couple slides ago. This is that first view when you're registered with us, the first thing that you're going to see. If you look up on the top there, you can see the dashboard is where we're on now. There's a help center, which is going to put individuals in touch with our member services team. So we've got a very robust team of live individuals who are waiting to help out with questions. There's the phone numbers, the phone lines available there. There's chat. You can kind of see in the lower right corner, there's a chat feature. And then there's also email as well. So we always say folks can reach out to us any way that they prefer, whether that be by phone, chat, or email. And within that help center is also where those resources I mentioned before are going to be, as well as some how-to guides. So step-by-step guides that somebody could have open as they're going through the process, just in case they had they wanted a little more information as they were going through. So the way to start applying is to click that complete application button. And then this is our actual application. So this is kind of our pre-screen application, which is going to be how we help determine whether somebody qualifies for the SBA program and how much money they might qualify for. So first step is just to give us some information about the loan request. There's those uses of funds that Luke mentioned are kind of within the SBA's allowed working capital loan. So pretty all-encompassing there in terms of just day-to-day operating expenses. Let us know the date the business was established, how many employees, and then a little bit more detailed revenue. So each year of revenue for the past 3 years. Then we're going to go into some business information. So what's the name of the business? All of this information we provided before, like industry, business address, you saw that get input during the registration. That's all going to be populated. So it's not as if they need to re-enter the information that they already gave us during registration. That will all pull through. We now will collect some ownership information. So the SBA says every owner of 20% or more of the business has to be listed as a guarantor of the loan. So pretty simple ownership form here. And I'll just pause quickly here to call out two different ways someone could complete this. The first is if they are the owner themselves or an authorized signer of the business, of course, they could apply as themselves. What we see a lot, kind of in the day-to-day is maybe somebody has their controller or a finance analyst or somebody who's helping them out with the application. So in that situation, that individual is perfectly welcome to do that, and they can share this ownership form with the owner themselves so that maybe they don't have the social security number or something like that. It just lets them share that form. The owner would get an email, be able to open it up, fill out those kind of sensitive information like a social, and then move forward. So let's say we're going to go ahead and fill out the form. It's just going to be very simple: owner name, the title of the owner, drop down of options too, so you can just select the one that's most applicable. Social security number, date of birth, and then citizenship status. Excuse me. So the SBA says U.S. citizens, or if you have an ITIN number, a lawful permanent resident, that qualifies as well. And then just email and phone number so that we can get in touch as we're going through our review of the application. And then the home address. So this would be like the personal address of the owner rather than the business address, which we had provided on the business information screen. So we've got our business information, we've got our ownership information, and then all we need to do to see our loan offer is complete these consents. So these are just clickable links, terms of use, privacy policy. If you click on those, they'll open up on your browser and you can read through them. Once we have that and we submit, the decision engine is going to run. It's going to take some of that information brought in and go to some different integrations that are built into the technology and produce a loan offer. So in this case, this individual qualified for the full loan amount, the highest one that we offer in the program, $250,000. It's going to have some interest rate info, estimated monthly payments. So of course, this is a preliminary kind of soft offer, but it is based on real information that we received through the application. So, just in about 5-7 minutes there, you're able to understand, okay, what does my business qualify for? Am I interested in moving forward with the rest of the process? If the answer is yes, we can go ahead and select the offer and continue. And that's going to bring us into the upload document stage. So Luke mentioned, documents are definitely a area where we've spent a lot of time, and we have specialized individuals who are ready and waiting to help with some of these document requests. And one of the things we've done is divided up the way we collect documents to kind of make it pretty digestible. So phase one for this loan amount, which is over $50,000, it's going to be a couple years of business tax returns, a personal tax return, and some interim financial statements, P&L and balance sheet. We do offer a very simple formatted document that folks could download. For example, for the interim financial statements, some people say, well, my accounting system doesn't really give me that, and I don't have that readily available. If you click that, not sure how to format your document, that's a clickable link. It'll download a very simple schedule for folks to fill out. It'll kind of point them in the right direction of exactly what we're looking for with those requests. And the same thing for the business debt schedule. So that's just a list of any existing debt that the business has. Folks could go ahead and download that, or sometimes people do have that available and they can just go ahead and upload it. So that is really, that right there is kind of all we need to get started with reviewing the initial request. We can kind of firm up that loan amount, say, yep, this is a $250,000 request. And then we'll have completed that initial phase of underwriting. It will kind of go back to collect the final remaining documents, and then we're basically ready to submit the loan for final credit approval and closing and ultimately funding. So I guess just the last thing I'll call out here is the business owner is always going to get this timeline as they're going through our process. So you can kind of follow along in real time. You can see, okay, I've completed the pre-screen review. It looks like I've got some documents I need to upload. If I had submitted all of those phase one documents that were just on the screen, that would be the blue check mark on the document upload needed, and we'd be in this loan application review stage. So this timeline is real time. It's always going to update. So there's never any, hopefully never any confusion as to where where you're at. We don't, so, try to eliminate anyone feeling like they're not sure where they are or whether something's required of them. But also, like Luke said, there's always going to be a team member assigned to the specific application request. And, reaching out via cell phone, via email, whatever the business owner prefers. We're in pretty close communication as we're going through the loan review stage. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing here.
Yeah, and one of the questions we were asked in the chat was if they're able to pay their loan in the portal, and the answer is yes. So like once you finish that process, that specific tile becomes your loan information, and you can download statements, you can make payments, all right there via ACH. So it's all integrated.
Yep.
Let's see. Looks like Vincent has a question. Let me see if you can either type it in the chat, or let me see if I might be able to maybe I can unmute you. Vincent, are you able to either type in your question, or maybe you could unmute and ask it?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
There we go. Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I for some reason I couldn't put anything in the chat, so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what. But real quick, I'll shoot just a couple quick questions at you. Is this open to startups? Maybe they don't have enough. Like I have an attorney that's opening up a business. She's got 30 grand saved. Would she qualify for one of a loan for 25 grand?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Our program, you do have to be in business 1 year. So startups aren't a good fit for our offering. That is a tough one. Startups are always a tough one.
Right. Okay.
So,
I think that I was going to ask another question based on that answer. So I think we're good, man. So appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, Adam, if you go to the next page, we can kind of highlight the qualifications better. So this just helps kind of show more visually what Adam talked about on the timeline, kind of pre-screen, underwriting, closing, and then servicing. If you look down here, if you look in the middle at the bottom, it really talks about, the minimum requirements. If they met these minimums, they would qualify for a loan somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000. So 1 year in business, US based, 50,000 average revenue, 650 FICO, and then just meet the SBA size and eligibility requirements. So, for a $50,000 loan, we think it's a pretty wide array. 1 year in operation kind of being the biggest hurdle we see the most. So then I think this last page is just the way that we would envision this working, and and we're definitely open to suggestions, or however you guys all think it would be the most efficient for you. But our view would be that if we had one link for the SBDC group and one link for Apex, that if you guys had clients that wanted to apply, you could just have them click on those. You can see, we've already kind of pre-made them. What that'll allow us to do is tag those to your organization, and then we can display those in the partner portal. So you're able to just see the status and kind of help those along. We could do it specific office by office. So, like Vincent, if you wanted your own link, we can just as easily make that for you. It's just, really open to kind of working with you guys on kind of whatever makes it most operationally efficient, because we'd love to be helping your clients and get in front of them. Nathaniel just asked, these are all 15% down, correct? So because we're not doing equipment purchases or startups or acquisitions, this is just working capital. There's no down payments needed. So if the client qualifies for $100,000 of working capital, we're funding them $100,000 for 10 years at prime 275 is the typical term. So no down payments because of the type of product we're offering. It's a good question.
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. So that covers the material we wanted to go through and just kind of show you guys the platform, introduce ourselves. we will send this deck and recording out, but we would love to get feedback and any ways we can help, work with your clients. Just let us know. We're here and hoping to help. So appreciate you guys taking the time. And if no one's got any other questions, we'll close it for now, and then feel free to respond via email to us as well with any follow-ups. Thanks all.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
day.